On a special episode of The Pascal Show, join me as I travel out to Atlanta, Georgia, and sit down with the captivating Larry Reed Live of the Larry Reed Live Show.
And I think I'm going to share something that I have not shared.
Man, we keep it really real in this conversation.
Where did you find the moment to forgive?
It was in the conversation.
How many credit cards do you have to run?
And we get to chop it up too.
Where she's the one falling down and stuff.
So sit back and enjoy this amazing conversation.
What's up, man?
What's up? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to see you.
Wow.
And welcome to my house, workhouse. That's what it is.
This is your workhouse.
My workhouse where I make all the shows and where I make things happen.
Wow.
You know, so sometimes feel like home, sometimes feel like work. You know, so I call it workhouse.
This looks like paradise. I don't know what you're talking about. This place is gigantic, man.
Well, it takes a lot. I mean, we have 3 studios here,
Okay.
and then I have me and the mother of my children.
Oh,
She
okay.
moved in.
She moved in.
Yeah, we used to be married, but we're not married anymore.
This room, by the way, is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
this piano.
Yeah.
Have you had this piano for a while?
I got the piano when I first got here. I got it first because I knew I wanted to make this room themed about music, because music is a big part of my creative process.
Right.
Whether it is during the show or actually doing music.
Right.
Music and also meditative states and prayer are like the space where I pull from to do comedy, to do teaching, to do anything.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I gotta ask you, can you play a little?
Nah, I don't play.
He says he don't play.
I don't
Come on,
play.
and he's pulling out the chair.
No, but let me explain.
Getting all grandiose.
I don't.
Come on now.
I don't play like it. Now, see, I used to play.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Well, hey, that was beautiful. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
all right.
you. I appreciate that. What is up, everybody? It's your boy Pascal. I'm out here in Atlanta, in beautiful Atlanta, inside of a beautiful home with a very wonderful man, very talented individual. Please welcome Larry Reed to the show, host and the brain behind Larry Reed Live. What's up, man?
What's up, man? I'm glad to have this opportunity with you.
Man, stop. I should be saying that.
But a lot of people don't be asking me questions and getting to know me, so I like when I have the opportunity.
Yeah, you know what? I appreciate you saying that. You know what I'm saying? But I see you on camera. I see your show. I see the followers and the devout people that are in your family, right?
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, like, how does this man tick? What is this? What's the story behind this guy? Because you are you're a captivating host on your show. And I'm just kind of like, I just want to pick this man's brain, and I just want to know what this man is all about. And I know that you are multi-layered and multifaceted, not only just within your talents with, music and singing, but also on the side of, preaching the word, being a pastor, running a church, running a congregation. So there's so many different facets of you that I'm so interested in. And so, I'm just honored to sit down with you and chop it up with you.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they look at the Larry Live Show, and the Larry Live Show, it is very much me every single day. I mean, when I get into a conversation, I talk and I'm animated, Maybe not that much today because I done messed around and took some pill to go to sleep, and it done got me way low. I mean, so aside from that.
What kind of pill though? Hold up. What kind of pill though? You said it, so we got to talk about it.
It's whatever Wendy Williams taking. That's what I took. I took what she took.
Not the one where she's the one falling down and stuff.
I don't play. Wait a minute.
Okay.
I'm just playing. I love Wendy.
Not the Statue of Liberty moment, right?
No. It's a muscle relaxer because probably the only 2 illnesses I've ever had in my life is muscle come on, I get spasms.
Oh, okay.
And then eczema. You know, my skin's real funny. I flare up any little tiny thing.
Get that cortisone going,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I keep that on deck all the time. But yeah, so Larry Reed Live is me in a conversation,
Right.
and that's how I am. But when I'm not Larry Reed Live in a conversation, whether it's on camera or off camera, I'm a quiet person.
Really?
Even in this 15,000 square foot space, I'm in my room. And I'm there most of the time. And I don't go out a lot, you know. But when I do, I meet LRLers and I have a good time.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I mean, because I can understand. I mean, it takes a lot of energy.
A lot.
It's a lot of energy going live.
A whole lot. You know.
Oh, I know. Trust me. And
Yeah.
I'm the same way. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
I'm the same way on camera. I mean, I do have musical Tourette's. You know, I might break into song every once in a while. But actually, that's me in real life
That's
too.
me in real life too.
That's actually me in real life too, though. But it's a little bit more amped up, obviously. You know, especially when you're talking about something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Or that's something that's really funny.
Yeah.
And all that. So yeah, man. So I understand. You gotta have that off switch.
Yeah. And so you mentioned about pastoring.
Yeah.
Because I pastored traditionally in that box for 20 years. And then I left that and went more into the entertainment space. And it's been the entertainment piece that people have gravitated to. And it's the entertainment piece that is more, what I would say, aligned with my personality and the person that I am.
Right.
In the pulpit, you're responsible for, you know, expounding on what has been written in the Bible. And you may get something prophetically download to marry to that to tell people. But there's not a lot of room for who you are and your point of view. Right. Because in the church, the pulpit is sacred. You do it the way that it's supposed to be done.
You know, see, that's the thing. Because it's funny because we're jumping right into the religion talk, and that's fine.
Okay.
I just didn't think we were going to jump right into the deep end, but we gonna do it. This is Larry Reed Live, everybody. So I got to ask you that, like, when it comes to religion, and of course you're a very colorful commentator.
I say anything.
You say everything and anything. There's some things that you just recently posted on Instagram that I got some questions about, which we will get to, but. No, seriously, we had a whole conversation on the ride here about it, or down here. But the thing about like breaking free from the foundations or within the construct, the boundaries of religion, right? Of what a pastor's supposed to be, right? How he's supposed to preach the word, religion and the LGBTQ plus community and the relation between those two, all those kind of things. I mean, obviously you've kind of gone against the grain on a lot of those things.
Yeah.
How were you able to maintain the congregation, like the people who follow you within that congregation? I mean, was it just kind of like a rip the Band-Aid off type of situation, or did you slowly finesse them in that down that road? How did that happen?
I thought I was slowly leading them down the road when I was in the four walls of the church. Probably back in the year 2011 and 12, I began to talk about ministry beyond the four walls. So I basically preached the same message all the way to 2017 with different titles. It was all about expanding. We come into the four walls, get our training, our nourishment, discover who we are, what our gift is, and where it fits in the world. Then we go into the world and be. That's my idea of a church. That's my idea of the purpose of a church. And so a lot of them did not get it. And so out of that handful of believers that was there in the Raleigh-Durham area, when I came here in 2015 and went full blast into entertainment, there were a few that are in my life today that are from that moment in time in my life, but just a handful of them. And most of them are part of the staff now that helps me run the MBN network and air all things Larry Reed Live and anything else that I do in between.
Wow, because I would feel like that nervousness, right, of taking that leap towards just being yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Being that colorful you just need to come and go to sleep kind of conversation, which we're going to go into
But
that
it's
conversation.
the truth.
But no,
But
you
it's
ain't
the
wrong. You ain't wrong. But when you have Pastor Larry Reed, you see what I'm saying? Wearing that hat.
But I said it as a pastor and as an entertainer.
You didn't stomp your foot and mop your brow, though. I didn't see that. You know what I mean? No. Yeah, I didn't see that. But you know what I'm saying? Like those kind of conversations that I would say traditionally, you see the televangelists or you see pastors that are doing their thing. You don't see them talking about that kind of thing.
But that's why Larry Reed Live was needed, because those conversations, the pulpit at church is not built for that. It's not made for that. So we needed something in between the church and real life to bridge the two.
Yeah.
And I see myself as a bridge. So we needed to talk about what was happening inside the church and in the community and how the two meet and met.
Right.
And so I see Larry Live as everybody coming to a kitchen table, which we did every Sunday after church, and talked about everything the pastor preached, what he said, and their life and everybody else's business. And so that's what we do at the kitchen table, called Larry Reed Live.
Right.
And we discuss it all. If it's in the public, it got to be in the public first. Then if it's already in the public, we're going to discuss it, and I give my point of view on it. And I did not know that my point of view mattered a lot, but now I understand it does, and I understand why, because especially when it comes to spiritual and religious aspect and my lens, I think with the COVID-19 and the way the world had just went, the presidency with the Trump and our government, people are looking for something with substance, even from a spiritual aspect. So my lens gives them that, but it also gives them real talk.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why that people are starting to gravitate and paying attention to what I'm saying, because I come out of the Black church. I still represent the Black church, but that's not all that is a part of what I do. You know, I also entertain. I also bring conversations that need to be had, rip the Band-Aid off. That's the way that I did it.
Yeah.
I thought I was telling them the whole time, but I realized when it was time for me to step into it, I said, well, look, I'm just going to do it that way. And I changed. I put earrings in my ears, tattooed up, changed everything. And they were like, oh my God, what's going on with the pastor? You know, so they went on back their way, and I went on back my way. And you see that my way was the way they should have went.
Right. But in a way, it's like you're a pastor in a modern world, and you're just keeping it real.
Absolutely.
And just being honest about what's going on, because you are a human being.
Yeah.
And you have needs and desires as well.
Yeah.
And not everything that you do is by the book. Right?
No. Right.
And so you're just keeping it real.
I like the way you said that. And there's another YouTube content creator. I don't know if I can say their name.
Go ahead.
Conscious TV.
He
calls me the secular man of God, and I love that. It's a great way to put
That's
it.
a good one too.
Yeah.
That's a good one too. Shout out to Conscious TV. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I've always wondered, you know, that whole thing of like, you know, taking that leap. Did you lose people? Did you get a lot of hate emails and DMs and stuff?
You know how Black folk
let's
is.
hear that side of it, because obviously you're doing just fine.
Yeah.
Clearly you're doing just fine.
Yeah.
But in the very beginning, when you made that move,
Man.
what was, you know, was there any static?
Yeah, that was when I discovered, or rather uncovered, the people that were in my life who really did not have a revelation about me at all. They only knew me by what we say in the church, by the flesh. They did not know me by the Spirit. And I think that they lost the ability to understand what I was doing. Because now what I was doing, you had to have a revelation about it. You could not just follow me into what I was doing and say, because that's my pastor or that's my friend, I'm just going to be connected to him. What I was doing, you had to have a revelation about it, and they just didn't get the revelation. So it was pulling the Band-Aid off. I did lose a lot of people, and that triggered depression, because these people, because I was when I stepped out and doing what I was doing was different from what my family wanted me to do. So I depended on those I worked with as like family. And then when they didn't get it, then my family was broke down. At the same time, my wife at the time said, okay, now I want to leave too. And I want to go find and discover myself. So that left me by myself in November, December, and January of 2017 by myself. And so, yes, I feel like I lost everybody.
Let's talk about that, because I saw in another conversation that you had in another interview, you mentioned that 2017 was probably one of the hardest years of your life.
It was.
You were dealing with some depression. You had some thoughts about maybe taking your own life. You were going through a divorce at that time. Can we go there for a second and just talk about it?
And I think I'm gonna share something that I had not shared because it came to my mind while you was talking. That hasn't left. It hasn't gone anywhere.
So that darkness hasn't left.
That darkness, that depression, that suicide thought, it's not gone. I don't know if depression you can cure. I don't think depression is something that you heal and then that's it. I think depression is something that you manage. It is something that you can use to your benefit. You can use depression to your benefit in a creative sense. I don't think that it is something that just goes away. You deal with it clinically and have certain practices in place. So that's when depression and suicide entered into my life as far as I know it. If it was there before then, I ain't know. But when all of that loss happened, that was when that began to happen.
So obviously all this loss, you started losing members of your congregation, but you were also trying to expand yourself, be yourself.
Yeah.
Then suddenly your wife wants to leave, right? And it was her decision. This was not a decision between you guys. It was a decision. So could we talk about that a little bit? Like
that was in 2016.
Was it a infidelity or was
no,
she just wanted to go her own way?
Yeah, she just wanted to go on her own way. No, it was no infidelity in the entire time in our marriage. And not saying if you do have infidelity, I think that's just extra on top of what was probably going on. But with me and her, by this time in our marriage in 2016, we were really getting back to our friendship. And I did not want my friend to do something that she didn't want to do anymore. And I didn't want my friend to not do something that she felt like she really wanted to do. And that's the reason why I did not fight as a husband and say, no, you're not about to leave. I'm trying to build a whole empire in Atlanta, and you on my show, Larry Live too, and everybody used to you saying you with me. No, you're not about to do that. Sometimes husbands, we take that kind of position, but I didn't do that. And I was like, all right, okay, cool. And we got on live. At that time, we were still running the church all the way to January 2017. And on that Sunday morning, we got on live with them and we told the church. We talked about it. Then the next day, Monday night, we done Larry Live, and we told them about it. Me, Buddha, Lisa sitting on stage, on the camera.
Yeah.
And we told them about it. When we was telling the church, though, I had a breakdown right on camera. I'm glad that footage can't be found nowhere.
Suddenly we're missing. Oops. Corrupted files. Done.
I mean, I went and I couldn't control it. I'm like, what is happening? Why am I crying? And you can see in that moment, I was broken, and she was like, cool. She was like, oh, okay, that's what's going. Oh, you feel like that, because I was still like, no, I'm just going through the motion, y'all. But I'm good. I'm good. We good. But I was told that, and anybody that know me should have known at that moment. Okay, something is really wrong for Reed to be crying, and it's not the spirit or intercession or worship, and for him to be crying, there's something wrong. That was the beginning of the breakdown on that show. But I kept going.
How long was that breakdown for? How long were you in
almost a year.
That dark?
Almost a year, because that started in the end of 2016, and I stayed in it almost a year.
Wow. So then what was your salvation? Because obviously you found some sort of silver lining, right?
Work was the salvation. Getting on Larry Live. I had something else that I had to do now. I had to make this work. So then it was left with me and Buddha, and he was on the show. I knew at that moment though, when after we decided to go our separate ways, and then later on in the first part of the year, she got off the show. From 2017, almost a year, Buddha was with me on the show. But at that impasse, I knew that I needed to take the show on, but I didn't, and kept him on the show. And that lasted all the way till March of 2018. Then the show was just me. It was the work that really helped me process where I was, because what I found out when I went to therapy in 2018, that was my dark night of the soul, and that's when I learned how to walk on my own. Yeah.
Through that therapy. And so how long were you in therapy for then?
About 4 or 5 months, 2 times a week.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It was intense.
Yeah.
I needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought I was going to remedy what was going on in 2017. I was having the suicidal depression. She was telling me, she said, no, you're past that now. What you're struggling with now is walking on your own and realizing your own strength. She said, I want you to save yourself, not save anybody else, and do this for you. So that's basically what she trained me to rethink about my life totally differently. And that caused me to build Larry Live.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I know that Larry Reed Live already existed,
It
right?
did.
But you're saying in that regard, during that time, because Larry Reed Live did exist already at that time, so you're saying more that she was getting you ready for Larry Reed Live, the entertaining side of it, not just the preaching, pastoring side of it.
No,
correct?
she was getting me ready for doing Larry Live by myself.
There we
Because
go.
Lisa and Vincent was on with me up until that point.
Gotcha.
And she was telling me, she would review my Larry Live in our sessions. And she said, I'll be on the camera by myself. She said, this is how it's supposed to be.
Word.
She said, you don't need anybody. And I was just like, but I was going through changes. So she really taught me how to be. And she said, it's going to do great. She said, you're going to be fine. And then she was one of those type of therapists. She said, well, you don't need me anymore. Oh. I said, yes, I do. She said, you don't need me.
You're cured.
Yeah, she said, you don't need me anymore. She said, you got it. Let's continue
Be
what
gone.
you're doing. Yeah. She had me to write down my goals for my subscribers, for how much money I wanted to generate a year. She went into career therapy with me. That's what she really went into.
Ooh, but it seems like she realized that your pure bliss or your happiness was through your work.
Yeah.
And she saw you shining, so she's going, no, this is happiness. This is bliss to you.
Yeah.
So let's make these goals.
Yeah.
Let's write down these goals and then because it is therapy. If you really think about it, every single day when you're getting on that microphone and you're talking about that particular subject matter or whatever, I mean, in some sort of way, we are all going through it emotionally. You know what I mean? It draws us to go to a camera, right?
Yeah.
Turn on a microphone,
Yeah.
turn on the camera and press record, or go live, because we obviously feel some type of way about it. And we work through these things. It may not be a subject that we're dealing with every single day in our lives, but we are working those things out with our fam, with our family and the viewers that we have. So I could see her going like, hey, you know what? My work here is done. Be gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's incredible though, that you're able to find the happiness through the
It's
work.
through the work. It's still through the work. That makes me happier than anything.
Well, shoot, man, this place is amazing. So I got to see where this show goes down.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
We have got to check out the studio, and I understand you got a couple other things hidden up your sleeve that you're working on down there too.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it's in here too, right?
It's in here. Everything's in here. That's why I call it the workhouse.
Right.
I mean, because really the headquarters for the ministry. And because see, the ministry, what people don't know, Larry Reed Live is the entertainment leg of the ministry. I went from 20 years pastoring like you would imagine the pastor to do in a box. And then I shifted to doing it online in 2015. And so from 15 to 17, I basically done church online. But at the same time I was doing that, I was doing Larry Live.
Wow.
And Larry Live is what blew up. And so the church aspect in 2017, I'm like, I'll get back to that later. So after 20 years, I stopped that and put all my focus on Larry Reed Live.
Yeah, put that hustle towards that.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Because the people were talking.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what people were gravitating to, the comedy aspect. And then also the aspect of, I was talking about what was happening in the church world that nobody else would talk about. And my perspective was unique because I come out of it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Can we check out some of the studio?
You sure can.
Let's go. What we're about to see, this is where the main show goes down.
Larry Live is a digital streaming show. And the basis of that show is all about me being on camera and talking about whatever's happening in the community, but I do it in my own way. I mean, it may be, most of the time it's gonna be comical because that's just me, but this is the studio where it all happens.
Dope.
And this studio started out being in my last house and the house before that. And initially it was in Atlantic Station. And we took two offices and ran the show out of there.
You know, it's funny because when you see it live, right?
Yeah.
When you see the show, and you doing your thing and all your crazy antics, it's crazy to see it in real life, like to actually see how it all goes down and what you use and all that. It's and I'm a big tech nerd, so I'm like, oh, I see that and I see that and okay. You know, but this is really dope. So you've been doing the show inside of here for how long now?
Almost a year.
Okay, so this has been pandemic, basically. The pandemic version has been here.
Yeah.
Now, are you doing anything? Do you have some plans for something bigger?
When I found this property, I knew this was going to be the room for it. And then, as I started working in here, I said, I need to be able, once a month, to bring in my patrons in the area. They can come and be in the audience. I said, well, I gotta go into another part of the house. And I decided to take an entire part of the house down here and turn it into a studio with a stage and an audience.
You're about to show us that right now, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna show you that right now.
Oh shoot, we're about to get the exclusive, y'all. Let's go. All right. So, wow. Okay. So this is the new toy, right? This is the new studio. Wow.
New studio.
Look at this.
It's new with the LED wall that
What
is
is
here
going on?
to put the assets here.
Yeah.
And got a little area for a sitting audience, which we're gonna rearrange this. And we're not finished. There's a lot of more work that has to be put in here. There are boxes everywhere that's filled with the equipment that we are going to be putting more stuff in here. So when the patrons come, they can have an experience and feel like they've actually been to a recording set. So we still have some more things that we have to put in here in order to take it to that next level.
How would you accomplish getting people in your crib without them trying to come back and stalk that ass?
Well, you know, there's an entry. First of all, the whole place is gated. The whole property is gated, and there are 39 cameras.
And ravenous Rottweilers. You need to say that too. And a moat, and alligators.
And they're all around where we see everything that happens. You can't even get access unless you're a great climber, or you just come through the gate and call and see if you can get entry. Well, once you get in here, every square foot of the house is covered, especially outside when it comes to camera. We've been watched right now on the security system.
Right.
You know, so one of the things that I can have my patrons come in here and come straight into this part of the house.
Yeah.
On the second level, there's a side door to where you can come right through that door and straight down the stairs to this place where they never go. And then I got other doors that shut off the entire second floor. Okay. So there's a way to come straight into this part of the house without even accessing the rest of my house. And it's my patrons.
Yeah.
I know my patrons.
Oh, okay. So when you say your patrons, you're not talking about Patreon, you're saying?
I am. I'm
You
talking
are
about
talking
those inside of Patreon.
Wow.
See, I set up my Patreon May of 2019.
Right.
And I engage with my patrons more than I do with my live show audience. So those that are in the area that are patrons, I already know who they are. So these are not strangers.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. That's good. I get worried for you. You know what I'm saying? I don't need a story. Coming up online somehow. I don't want to break that story.
Yeah.
Let me just say that too.
I mean, although I have had folk at the different places I live to come there, show up at concierge and say, "I'm here for Larry Reid and I'm his baby mama," and then not be my baby mama.
Right.
Yeah, because she on the phone. I'm like, "You not here?" Say, "No, I'm not there." So somebody that's trying to get up here, So that happens.
That does?
Yeah. Yes, that happens.
But see, like that's the thing. What is the craziest story you've had from a fan, right, or a supporter of the Larry Reid Live show?
To show up at my property, I have another property around the corner. To follow somebody in, only 35 houses I'm at.
Right.
Follow somebody in and take pictures in front of my house. That's pretty strange.
I'm happy you have to deal with it, not me. Let me just say that. But this place, real talk, wow. And this is something that you never had planned.
It came to my mind, I said, "There's something that can be done in here." And the mother of my children, she said, "Why don't you put your studio in this big part?" I said, "But that ain't how my studio go. I'm going to put it in the other part." And then when she said it, I began to think about it. I said, well, maybe I can put the audience, because I had the idea in the other property to have an audience and drop a screen in that another part of the house where the audience can sit in there. I said, well, maybe I can put one in here. And that's when I began to think about that.
Yeah.
So even when I started streaming in the other studio, I was already mentally over here, ready to get it set up to do this.
Right.
I wanted to be able to do the work and do it well. And I'm still like that. I'm working on a set now for a show that's for 8 episodes. On the set with Hollywood actors. And I'm from YouTube.
Right.
And so one of the producers who know me said, "Are you excited? We're doing a table read last week." And I said, "No, I got to work,"
Right.
So I'm so into the work that I don't think about how it really feels. So there are probably some moments that I'm going to have to just take and just think back and really get into the emotions of how I feel and pat myself on the back.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, congratulations on the series.
Yeah.
That's big.
It's
That's
huge.
big. So it's like a docu-series type of
No,
thing?
it is a scripted series that's been funded by a major network. 3 producers that are working on it, and they wanted me to be a part. It's very similar to Empire meets Greenleaf.
Okay.
And it's the merge of that's a great way to describe it.
Does this have to do with the Kirk Franklin series that got picked up? I think it was
don't know.
something
It could not. I don't know.
Obviously, this place is really amazing. Now, I know that you have this. What is this? Is this like one big old sound panel type of deal?
It is an LED screen. And
That's LED.
And there's different levels. The big event we just had,
Yeah.
Reformation Experience in July, those screens were everywhere. We had them everywhere. But I wanted my own. I didn't want to rent a company to bring them in. I said, I want my own, and I want that to be in the back studio. And so we had to spend more money to get the kind of screen that will work this distance away from a camera. And so we got this. And so the graphic artist, because I think everybody should know the word they're born for. There's a number and a word attached to our creation. And mine is reform. So what he did, he took the Atlanta skyline and flipped it to where it's like reforming and transforming the city. And so that's what you're looking at.
That's amazing. Yeah. Wow. I just want to take a peek at the screen itself. That is incredible, man.
Yeah.
Wow. Man.
And we're actually going to expand the screen because I realized after our first taping, it was too short. And so we're going to extend it to
You're gonna extend it a
here
little bit longer?
on both sides.
How many credit cards do you have to run? I'm just curious. So you got that black card? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up?
It's really the people's donations that I use to just take it all to the next level, as opposed to living off of it. I take it to push all of what we're doing.
Yeah. So now, obviously, we got to see your home and all that you've been doing. Let's go back
Okay.
before you went solo. Before you went solo dolo. Okay. How? I mean, what was the show really like? What was that? What was that all about? Because I know you had Lisa. You had Buddha. How did that? How did those two people disappear? Where did that? How did that spawn? Where did that spawn from?
Well, I think there's a statement that Vincent said, who's Buddha, before he left. He said, I think it was on set of the last show. He said, I have to get out of your shadow. I have to do my own thing. I have to do my own life and make my own decisions. He was my admin assistant and before he became the person sitting beside me on the show. So every stage of my life, he was there. Lisa, life was pretty much the same. I married her straight out of her parents' home at 19 years old.
Oh, wow.
So here
Young.
we are, 2016. She needs to, and she was in the military too. So she was coming to a certain space in her life.
Yeah.
It's time for her to retire from the military. All that was happening to her. So I understood what was happening for them, although I didn't like it. And I wasn't even thinking about my darn self. It was my therapy that really was like, okay, no, this is the universe changing things around you and setting you up for your moment. And so it all happened the way that it needed to happen. And if I had not discovered who I am, that I could stand on my own 2 feet and do me, there are a lot of people that I wouldn't be helping today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about YouTube.
Okay.
You know, obviously, your congratulations on going past 100,000 subscribers. That's a huge milestone.
It is.
I know that's how. That's right around when I started really watching your channel.
Okay.
But what have been some of the struggles with your YouTube channel? I mean, now has things gotten easier, or are things getting harder?
Things are getting way easier because I understand what I need to do in order to be successful as a YouTuber. I understand what content I want to do. A lot of people, they start their channel and they from one thing to the next. You need to have a niche, whatever that is, to where when people come to your channel, when they hit the subscribe button, they know what they're getting from you.
True.
And when they know what they're getting from you, they're going to watch you. And so that subscriber now contributes to the success of your platform by being a consistent watcher. And the only time that they'll do that if your content is consistent around the thing that made them subscribe. And so I always keep that base there. So I'm going to always, although sometimes I may get on and talk about a movie and interview the people from the movie, or I may have a discussion that is 100% for the LGBTQA plus community. But my basis is people come to me when it's something that has done happened in the church. Or they come to me with something happened in the world, they want to know what the church thinks.
Okay.
So that's my niche.
But you sometimes go off the beaten path. Sometimes.
Oh, yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. But mainly people come to you to hear those stories of what's going on in the church, or this pastor did this salacious thing, or
And it can be on the blogs, but they say, well, I want to hear what Reed is going to say about it. You know, because I'm going to have my viewpoint is different because I pastored traditionally for 20 years. I'm still a pastor now. So they want to know what he got to say about it, you know. And so that's my niche, and I know that. Even secular people, you know, that was raised in church, you know, they enjoy my platform. And even if it's something concerning like Little Nas X, the baby statement, they still want to know what you think. Because of your lens, I'm interested in what you think. And so I'll dance with all those topics, but I understand what my niche is. So YouTube is easier for me now because I'm 100% sure on what I'm supposed to be talking about, and I understand how not to get sued, how not to lose my monetization
Right.
through Google. So it's getting easier.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad you figured out the formula. Let's talk about that. Let's talk a little bit about that. The world of lawsuits,
Yeah.
real quick.
Yeah.
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 Okay. I gotta ask you those because I know you've had your fair share of things.
Fashion, I've had too many. I can't tell you how many. Well, cease and desist letter is supposed to be the first move in a lawsuit. But a lot of people use it to scare you. That's why I say it's for punks. Cease and desist letters that ain't attached to no real lawsuit. You've been a punk.
They front.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But I've had more of those than I can count. I mean, off the top of my head, I'm gonna say 100 of them.
So then let me ask you, why is it? What are you saying in the show that would make somebody go out of their way to send you a cease and desist letter? You see what I'm saying? Because if you're going in there and you're just saying, "Oh, these are my thoughts of this,"
That's exactly what I'm doing.
literally,
Yes, it's commentary. My show is comedic commentary.
right?
But the thing, I did not know the power of my voice. I didn't realize that me saying what I thought about something now becomes the truth. It now becomes what everybody else is going to say, and it affects how other people move. So those cease and desist letters began to come the more my platform and influence grew. Because if I were y'all, I wouldn't be going out there to that church over there where he at, and he's sleeping with his wife plus the 3 other women.
Yeah.
What kind of leader is that,
Right.
And then hiding children. So then people stop giving, stop coming.
Right.
So that's where those letters started coming from. Then I said, oh, wait a minute. My voice has a lot of power. And then some of these cease and desist letters turn into lawsuits. And the reality is, even with you telling the truth, if somebody has enough money, they can make your life a living hell and cause you to spend money. And most people, before they do that, they'll just shut up. I just wasn't that smart. I just kept fighting and spending money.
You said I ain't ceasing and desisting for nobody. I'm gonna keep telling my stories.
Yeah.
I feel like some things can get a little messy, especially when you are, you get bigger in your name, your subscriber base gets larger, and so the need to be the one breaking the biggest bombastic and most salacious titles out there and stories out there can be almost addicting.
Yeah.
Because of course, if you're not doing that, then how you maintain and how do you continue growing if you're not pushing the envelope?
Which
right?
is why I built my channel around commentary, because it's always going to be something to talk about.
True.
And I also built it around me giving my commentary. So I don't do a whole bunch of interviews. I saw some people that probably gotten inspired by watching people like us. And so, okay, since I know some people, I'm going to get these big names in to interview them, and they have 80 views.
Right.
Because it's not how you build a channel.
No.
You build the channel on yourself and what you do, and make sure that that audience has that base there that will support everything that you do. And then you do all these extra things that just make it better.
Right. I mean, and that's the one thing I've learned as well. It's that it's not about the person you're sitting across from at first.
Right.
It's about building that foundation of you.
Yeah.
So that the viewer, at least on YouTube,
Yeah.
starts to like you.
That's
So
right.
that if you're sitting there going, "Hey, I'm out in Area 51 interviewing a bunch of, conspiracy theorists about aliens and stuff like that," they will watch because they
It's
like you. They like your voice. They like they know all your isms and your conversation and all that. Absolutely. You see what I'm saying? They're going to sit there and rock with you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who you're sitting across from.
Right.
You could be talking to a wall, which 95% of the time, aren't we talking
We
to a wall?
are talking to ourselves.
Exactly. We're talking to ourselves. So it's like, and if they like that, then boom, then the sky's the limit. But then if you are sitting across from, Chris Brown or something like that, then hey,
Yeah, that makes it even
congratulations,
better.
baby.
It makes
What I mean?
it makes it even better if it's a good interview.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If it's a good interview.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is a good interview.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah.
But so let's talk about relationships, shall we? Let's go into that world.
Okay.
All right. So when we were going through the house, and we went here, you explained that your ex-wife
Yeah.
is living in your house.
Yep. You
With
said
your
it
kids.
Right. My house.
All right. So let me get this right. So you got divorced. You divorced from your wife. Your wife, now ex-wife, left.
Yes.
Right, with the kids.
Right. And
Then
we got divorced
came
after.
back.
Yeah. Then she came back.
Okay, so then explain what the dynamic is like with that kind of household now. Because
Well,
you guys aren't together, right?
No, we're not.
Okay.
And it's very easy to do because we're friends. And we were friends before we originally got married. And somehow or another we were able to get back to our friendship. And during the marriage, we sort of lost the friendship.
Right.
And then at the end of the marriage, we began to rebuild our friendship because being pastors, as well as having our own careers, sort of got lost in all of that. And so when we got back to our friendship, she came to me one day and she was like, I need to find out who in the whole hell and the heaven I am.
Right.
But she didn't know who she was. She was first lady. She was in the military.
Right.
And so when she had that epiphany, I'm like, all right, cool. And I didn't want her to do it. But I didn't want to stop my friend from doing what she wanted to do. The husband in me that was building a business and had an image to uphold wanted to say, no, you can't do that.
Right.
You ain't about to screw all of this up. But I let her go. And that was in 2016 of November.
Gotcha.
And so when that happened, later on she got divorced, she got married to somebody else. They broke up. She sent the kids back to me because she noticed the kids were really taking all these changes.
Right.
They really weren't doing well, so she sent them back to me.
Interesting. Interesting. And then after that, that's when she was like,
let
me move in.
Yeah, a year some change later, we realized that although I'm like the disciplinary parent and the one that puts structure in place, they still need their mom. And so that's how that conversation came. And just so happened COVID had hit, so it was a smart idea for all of us to be in one space versus them flying back and forth. She moved back from Florida to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what part of the world in this big ass house? Does she live right next door, or does she live all the way on the opposite side of the building?
Well, I say she's in the basement, but they say I shouldn't call it basement. Once you leave me, that's what happened. You go to the basement. But really, she is not in the basement. It's the lower level.
Yeah.
That's really where a lot of work go on every single week. But half of the basement is hers.
Wow.
She has her own office, a beauty room, sauna, shower, prayer room, and her bedroom.
She got everything.
All on one side.
Wow. She got a whole house down there.
Yeah, she.
And a couple stores.
Yeah.
Wow.
And her office like a library. She got that too.
Wow. Wow. This is your house. Okay.
Right.
I thought maybe she's the one that decorated everything. I don't know.
Hell no.
Hell to the no. So let me. I gotta ask you, what is that like? Are you cool with it?
Yeah. We're friends. If I decide that I want to date, that's going to be a lot to explain.
I was gonna ask you that next, but I mean, are you not having romantic relationships? You know what I mean? Are you not having relationships?
No.
And you are not bringing those people into this home?
I wouldn't. I have several. Why bring them here?
Oh, damn.
I think somewhere else.
You got plural? So you've got plural. How many is plural?
I mean, it don't make no sense. I would take it somewhere else. I mean, that don't make sense. If I get serious dating someone, I'm going to bring them here. I want them to meet my family. That's the only downside. Maybe that's not even an issue. We've talked about it and we've said it's not an issue.
Right.
But you really don't know till you do it.
Facts.
And it may not even be one because we are friends. And I want the best for her. More than likely, the issue that will be is that whoever I bring, she be like, something ain't right. And whoever she bring, I'm like, something ain't right. You know?
Yeah.
And because what we say to each other matters.
Right.
And usually we right when it comes to somebody else
Right.
And that, we see for each other. So it may not even be a problem. So maybe there are no problem. Maybe it's all win-win.
I mean, you guys got divorced, right? So she goes off and does her own darn thing,
Yeah,
right?
she did.
I've been hanging around with you too much. So hanging out and doing your own darn thing,
Yeah.
right? So how did you guys swing back and be cool? Because honestly, you just said that you were in a very dark place when she said she wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And I can understand that would tear my heart out if the person that I loved,
That
that I thought was going to be forever,
that I've
said,
been with since I was 19.
wow,
Yeah.
wow. So I feel like that's something that would tear my heart out.
It
And
did.
it would be really hard for me to bring that person back into my life and into my heart again. So how long did it take for you to be cool? And I understand y'all have children together, but I'm just saying there's still that underlying,
We maintained
You know?
the friendship. We didn't. What I was mourning was the loss of a vision, because I had a vision for my life, and that included her as my wife. So that was really what I was mourning. It was the death of that vision, because we continued to communicate. So the relationship wasn't gone. And so I just had to learn a new way to view her in my life. That was what was very difficult to do.
yeah, because I could only imagine, like I said, it would take a lot of work for me. I mean, and that's just me on a personal level, for me to forget. Like, sure, I'll forgive, but to forget and then have that person still, now living in my private domicile.
Well, maybe if she had cheated on me or abused me or something, then it would be difficult. But she didn't do nothing.
She didn't do nothing.
She just wanted to go and figure out her life.
Right.
And I didn't want her to go. That was it. I didn't. That was the bad thing.
How's the dating scene?
I'm not. I pay attention. I look at all the news y'all saying. I look at everything. But
Okay. So you picky and choosy?
I'm just looking at y'all hoes send me pictures. I mean, I'm so focused on what I'm supposed to be doing in my life. I am not trying to go out there and fuck around.
Okay.
It just ain't in my thing right now.
It's too too
Yeah.
messy, or it could
And
get too
especially
messy.
for me, come on now. All right.
Especially for you.
They were
Please
just
explain that.
my friends are always trying to set me up with somebody, and this one is a nice girl, but I know women. Okay, we start dating, and then it probably will get serious.
Right.
And then we're probably gonna start having relations, little fucking here and there, probably. I mean, no, you're not supposed to do it as a Christian in fornication or whatever, but it's probably going to happen before you get married.
I mean, that's the modern world.
Right. So what ends up happening if all of a sudden one day I wake up like, what, I really don't want to do this. They're going to lose their mind and then go crazy. They're going to go to all the blogs. I don't have no time for that. And I know that's what they do because that's what happens in my job. I always hear from the hoes.
But has it happened from you though?
Not for me.
But for you, I'm saying.
Not for me because I ain't did it. But it happens to everybody. I know everybody's piece.
That's interesting.
Because they get upset.
So then you've just been single this entire time?
Yeah.
You ain't going around and running around and getting it? No. Like not at all?
Not during all.
Since when?
If you're out there and we are having sex, call in. Hit Pascal.
Call me. Please call me. Because I would love to hear this story. Because if he lying, we gonna find out. You understand?
Right. No, I am not out there slinging peen.
No slinging the.
No
giving that vitamin D.
No, not at all. No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Really?
I'm not.
Wow. Okay.
And it's not difficult when you are about your business. I am about my business. I got so much stuff going on.
But you are saying to people, you need to come and just go to bed.
I didn't say I don't come.
Okay.
I come.
And then you go to sleep. I feel you. I'm done. Okay, so I mean, is she bringing any people to the crib?
She's not.
So she's single too?
Yes, but I'm pretty, because I know she's picky. She had me as a husband. And look how I am as a baby daddy. It's gonna be so hard for her, poor thing. It's gonna it's gonna be
They broke the mold.
It's gonna be much harder for her than me, because now she's a smart woman. She's military. She's retired, so she's getting that piece of money, and then she's about to retire again in 10 years because she's doing JROTC at high school here. So she's a successful woman, But there are plenty of successful women in Atlanta. I mean, that's on their grind, 6 figures a year.
Right.
But a black man in Atlanta doing what I'm doing and like me, I'm a rarity. So it's going to be much harder for her. They like 8 to 9 women to a man here in Atlanta too. Both things she got it hard. I mean, because she's just not going to be finding it.
Oh, but then there's there's a lot of men out here that are a little bit more
They're like other
flexible.
Men. Yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean, but still they ain't gonna be as good as me. Well, I'm saying either way, because even some of those men, I mean, like you said, they flexible. They do both, But no, she's not gonna find it. She's just not gonna. She's gonna go somewhere else. It's not gonna work here.
Yes. Okay. She came here and then she's like, man, so it's dry.
Right.
It's dry out here.
And plus, her father gave her to me. I mean, her father was close. Me and her mom had a great relationship. And both her parents are passed. So I know she's gonna have all that in her head when she's trying to date somebody.
Right.
And then they're gonna have to compete with our relationship.
Right. Oh, well.
Because that ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be family?
Any chances of maybe rekindling that relationship?
That's probably
Remarriage?
what would end up happening. Not no time soon.
Marriage part 2, wedding part 2?
Not no time soon. But if anything would happen, it would be that. It won't be us with nobody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I good luck. I mean, she's already moved in. She already has an underwear drawer. You feel me? She already moved in. I'm telling you.
But it's gonna be different.
She got the toothbrush. You know what I'm saying? It's over.
But I don't know. I don't know about that. We'll see what happens in the future.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to tap into this a little bit. Okay. All right. So I'm going to be careful how I go down this road because I don't want to be rude or anything.
Okay.
But I know there's been conversations or questions about your sexuality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you mind if we go down?
I don't
this
care.
road? Okay. I love you. Oh my God, I love you.
I don't mind. I don't have no problem with that.
So, yeah, of course, there's a lot of people that have asked you this question several different times. I guess, do you put yourself in do you put yourself in the category of anything as far as like, are you fluid?
No.
Not, are you? Like,
no, and if you ask me, I identify as a straight man.
Okay.
But have I had sex with another man? Yes.
Okay.
And that was, and I'm not talking about just my molestation.
Yeah.
So which happened all the way up till I was 12 years old. There was times where I made the decision to do certain things. But I don't have no problem saying that. That don't bother me. I don't see why people have and I think because I put that out there,
right,
it created something.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's because it was just so gray. If that makes any sense, it wasn't so black and white.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what's the definitive answer, and what's not the definitive answer? If that makes any sense, because there's the talk of you have spoken freely and openly about your experience as a child.
Yeah.
The sexual abuse that happened to you as a child. Yeah. And first off, I commend you even coming out and being honest and open about those things too. But I feel like people automatically go, oh no, it's not because it happened when this happened, up until he was 12 years old. But I guess if we click and drag the experience with other men past 12 years old, that were decisions that you made for yourself. Yeah. Were those things did those things happen later on? You see what I'm saying? Not during the time of your childhood. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I thought that was made pretty clear, though. I thought it was. But maybe it was not. I mean, but I don't have no problem discussing that. Yeah. And I don't think that it is something that anybody should have a problem with discussing. I think that whatever you have experienced in your life, you should find a way to use it to create some kind of positivity for somebody else.
Absolutely.
And I don't think a lot of people would. I don't know. I don't understand people that don't share. I mean, I understand that there's some things you do not need to say because people are a certain kind of way. But I don't understand. I don't get it. I just ain't wired like that.
I think it's the fear. I think it's the fear of right off the bat. I think it's the fear of judgment, the fear of having to repeat yourself, the fear of having to go into detail sometimes, because it can be triggering for a lot of other people. Obviously, you have talked about your experience many different times, and you've relived things and recanted things that have happened to you in your life. But you are in a strong mental place. You see what I'm saying? In comparison to other people who do talk about these things, and then it suddenly triggers them to go down the road of going back to that vice that they used to go to cover the pain. You know.
Now, see that is a conversation because see, I could have easily ended up in some because I was addicted to porn, and one of the reasons why that I was addicted because I had not addressed. I'm just saying this looking back now. I didn't know this then.
Of course.
I had not addressed some serious pain that I experienced in my childhood. Now, let me explain my molestation.
Sure.
My molestation, it was 6 of my family members. It was all male. And it happened far back. My earliest thought is a smell, and it's the smell of a man's crotch. So that's where I was working from. Probably my second smell that I can remember from my childhood is the smell of my grandfather's hat, which is another sweat. And so that is the world that I have as a child. I remember my 3-wheeler. That's it. Everything else was 6. So, but there was one of my cousins who I'm saying molested me because that's what I've always called it. But I'm still thinking about that because I know when a predator does molestation right, it doesn't feel as though there's a violation in it. But that manipulation is covert. But this particular cousin, it became like a relationship that went on until it stopped. And so my first emotional, which could have a whole lot to do with the reason why I am the way I am, my first emotional type relationship was with my cousin who was a man who left me.
Right.
And that's when it all stopped. And so then I was left with, okay, now what in the world? What is going?
Right.
And I didn't even know that was something that everybody didn't do. That's number one. I didn't know that. I thought that was just how it was. And so then I don't even know if I'm discussing this in my documentary. I may be giving you stuff that I ain't even put in my documentary, which comes out next month. But
You can say right in that camera.
but that's a good thing about conversation. And I love a conversation because every conversation, new things come out.
Of course.
And a lot of this I've had to unpack in the public eye because people have asked me so many questions and I've asked so many people so many questions. I've had to unpack or some stuff I just shut down and forgot, you know. But after that, I had a period where I was trying to figure stuff out. So there's some women and some of my cousins who would have a whole lot to say about what I did and whatever. But I was young, just when the age of 13 and 15, you know, and I mean, if something happened after 15, it probably stopped before 17, because 17 I started preaching.
Right.
So but everything that happened in between.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah. But see, but if I didn't have the trauma, I wouldn't even have that part of me that reached for God.
Right.
Or, you know, did where I ended up start preaching at 17 years old.
Yeah. Could we go there for a second?
Yeah.
Well, actually, before we go there, as far as that cousin, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever find closure? Did you ever find forgiveness, or is he still?
We're in a relationship now. Let me define that.
Yeah, please.
He called. He could call me. Hey, what's up, cousin? We had to
Okay.
have that conversation. Come and tell you what happened.
So y'all are cool.
We cool. But let me tell you what happened though, cause when I started, this is after I got married, unpacking certain stuff. Of course, I told Lisa. Lisa knew everything, the mother of my children. But then I started. I want to talk to my parents, and so when I told them, I wish you could have seen my daddy's face. He looked like he wanted to kill somebody. I'm his boy, his
Right.
youngest boy. Somebody bothered you, you know. And so I wanted to tell them, and my mom was infuriated. So, and I told them names.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that they would share. I didn't think it would go any further. But somehow or another, it became conversation in the family. So then when it came to the doorstep of that particular cousin, he was totally denying. And maybe if I was wired a different way, I would have got upset, but I didn't. I'm like, well, you know, he got wife and kids, you know, so I probably would say no to, you know,
Right.
I would say no to, you know. And so I didn't hold it against him. But he had to call me for something that was going on in the family, and I brought it up. And I could have been recording him if I was that type of dude, but I wasn't even in that space.
Yeah.
I just told him how this affected me when you left and like forgot about it like it never happened. That was the thing that really bothered me. It really wasn't even the acts. You know, because all of that was pleasurable. I mean, because I was nothing. I was coming. You know, so,
Right.
so I was just trying. I mean, it was, and I know that may be very difficult for people to hear that have been in some kind of trauma, but I worked through it, so I can just talk about it like I'm talking about any story.
Right.
You know, so it wasn't traumatic, except for the time when you won't wash and put that nasty thing in my mouth. You know, so I have those memories of funky nuts. You know, I have that, you know, from him. Now the other 5, that was traumatic. Put your face in the ground, you know, making me they would put my face in between their crotch stuff. And that was so many different types of violations, which made me very mean.
But it sounds like one was a relationship,
Right,
and another one was full on
right,
non-consensual.
right. It
was full on abuse.
It was, but see, he saw them doing that because it was all of the cousins.
Yeah.
So he was there. He was there, but he was like, "You come on," and he kept me from that.
How old was he too?
Now I'm
Was he much older? Or was he?
He was older. I'm 43, and I think now he is probably maybe 50. So it was an age gap.
Okay, and you were how old again?
It stopped when I was
12.
12.
But it started when you were 6.
Oh, I can't remember. It was my earliest thoughts. So it probably always was. I don't
Always
know.
was. And he was a part of that.
Yeah. It was a part of that. But when that traumatic stuff, because there was even some women involved in that.
Yeah.
It wasn't just men. It was men and women that were there that would say, make Larry do this, make Larry do that. It wasn't just men.
Okay, so then who are these people? When you say
Family.
This was family members.
Yes.
Not immediate, not your mother and father.
No.
This is
like, but we were all raised like first cousins.
Right.
But no, this is like second and third cousins that I would see often.
Wow. But so then that happened. Okay. So
And I just remember something I totally forgot.
go for it.
I'm not gonna say their name, but I just remember something I totally forgot. I mean, I just got to unpack that later, but I just remember that it was not just my male cousins. There were some of the females that all watched this violation take place.
They sat and
watched
They
it.
were an audience to this act.
Yes, and I just
Wow.
only focused on the men.
Because you were in it. Of course, that's like
Yeah.
another detail that you kind of forget. You know, it's like
Totally forgot.
Oh, there was a gold painting in the background. You just don't remember because you were
Totally
busy.
forgot until
Wow.
this moment. And my best friend's off camera, so he probably saying, "Yeah, you never said that."
Yeah.
I saw the scene and I described the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a wild scene to think of, to even think that that's even has happened. So then, I know you talked to him, right? To your cousin.
Yeah.
Where did you find the moment to forgive everyone?
It was in the conversation with him. A few of the cousins are deceased now. They got murdered. So there was no closure as far as the conversation.
Right.
You don't always need a conversation to close. But I just happened to have the gift of being able to talk to that particular cousin. And he began to tell me what happened to him. Man. And he would hide names because it's a family.
Right.
And I didn't even know the names anyway. And I understood that. I mean, what could I say?
Right.
I mean, you did the same thing to me that was done to you, except you done it not abusively. That's it.
Or it almost seems as if you guys were going through the motions. Like you didn't know what you guys were doing because you were young, but you were going through it in a way, but maybe thinking that that's a way of showing affection.
That's
You
exactly
see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But it was, you guys are young, so you don't know any better.
And that taught me sex was affection, which
Yeah.
led me into sexual addiction because I felt like if you love me, then you're going to fuck me.
Right,
You know,
right.
if you can't give me that,
Yeah.
then you don't really love me. You know, so that is. And then if I don't love you, if I want to get you back for what you did to me, I withhold sex from you because sex is the love. So all of that rewiring had to happen. And that's really what made me as deeply spiritual as I became because I began to look into the eyes of God. Because my family got preachers and prophets and singers. So I'm like, okay, now, don't nobody know all of this stuff is going on? Okay, what is up with this? And before you know it, 15, I had an encounter with God. He visited me. And then by 17, I'm preaching. 15, I started prophesying, telling the future. You know, so without that trauma, I don't know if I would be sitting here and if I would have became all of what I became.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. And I commend you for, one, being so open and being so honest about these things and being willing to talk about these things. Because here's the thing, there are so many survivors out there that don't get to tell their story or don't speak about it freely enough.
I want to say something to people who are dealing with that because I see this in my work. When you do not commit to the work on yourself, you look for people to blame. And part of you telling your story does not have to be blaming somebody for making you have the desire or the thought that you don't want to have, whether that is as it relates to porn, the same sex, or excessive opposite sex. What you need to do is to get into counseling, get into therapy. You need to talk about what happened with you, but in a way to where it does not cause trauma to other people and problems. Because I didn't know this then, but had I started telling my story and naming people in my family, I probably would have never got to the healing because that would have just it would have been such a war with that and me fussing, yes you did, yes you did, but I went straight for the healing. And there's nothing in my heart towards anybody.
That's amazing.
Nothing but love.
That's amazing because it would take a lot for me. If that happened, that would take a lot.
Especially when some of those same people that were a part of the abuse try to come back at you and fuss at you. For me doing Larry Live, you supposed to be saved. And you doing Larry Live. Nigga, you forgot. You had me put my whole pain in your book.
Right.
You know? Yeah. What are you saying?
Yeah.
Are you really gonna get? I don't care you saved now, but you're not gonna come to me like that, and we're not gonna have the other conversation.
Right.
Because I had to go through all that. I had to work through all that.
You talked about porn addiction really quick. What got you to shake it off?
Knowledge. I always say this, especially when I was pastoring traditionally. I had a lot of addicts. Knowledge. knowledge is very powerful. And this is what led me into going to get my master's in counseling, because I was in the books that were tied to the class that you only could get if you took that class. That's why I have my master's of Christian counseling first before I got my master's of divinity, because the books that were tied to it that talked about the brain. And so when I began to realize what happens in most people that watch porn, I don't know if this information is still correct because I haven't read the book in a long time, and how it damages the brain and the perception, and how it makes relationship with people that you're supposed to love a certain kind of way difficult. How the pornabation, the combination of the porn and the masturbation, how it gives you a false sense of intimacy that you can control, which is not how no relationship is supposed to be. All relationships supposed to have ebbs and flows. I just said, okay, I don't want to do that to me. I don't want to fool up with my brain like that. I don't want to do that.
Right.
That's the reason why I don't get drunk, don't get high. It's not because it's wrong, and the Bible says, I like my brain. My brain makes me money, and I like to be sober in my brain. And so if I'm gonna do something that's gonna throw me off while I'm not thinking for a minute, I don't want to do that. I want to stay conscious, clear, and aware, and I want to heighten that intelligence. So that's the reason why I don't do porn, because of what I know a brain like mine, what it does. And so I just don't feed myself like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Man, so the power of the mind, right? And overcoming those vices is it takes a lot. I'm sure there are tough moments, I'm sure. You know what I mean?
I'm not now. But they were. Even after I stopped, it took years to get my brain rewired to where I used to have my computer where it had a lock on it where I couldn't visit certain sites, and I didn't set the code. I let somebody else set the code. There was somebody I knew through cyberspace. Set the code so I couldn't go look at the sites.
Right.
Because if I were left home by myself, which a lot of times I was, I am going to watch porn. And if I close the door and I'm by myself, I'm going to watch porn.
Right.
It's like any small increment of time and I'm by myself.
That window of solitude.
Yeah. And then when we got better TVs and it was on the TV and I got better computer and had clearer pictures, oh shoot, I'm watching porn.
We got into HD.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So I'm so glad I got rid of that before all these 4K TVs came out and all this kind of stuff. I would be in my room sore and halfway walk. Because
one strong arm. That's it.
I would say, why you got so many muscles on the right side of your body? Yeah, so but it's not even a thing now. It can't satisfy me. I would let you check my web history. It's just not my thing. It's just not.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I find people more interesting.
Yeah.
And when I was doing porn, people weren't that interesting.
No.
I saw people only their body.
Oh, okay.
Everybody was subject
All externals.
to their looks.
Right.
And then my mind would objectify their body parts. I would look at this particular person and say, oh, they have a nice this, they have a nice that. And I would deal with them and communicate with them and friend them on Facebook according to that. It just led every part of my life. And I said, I'm really not into people. I'm looking at who I can use for my vice.
Was that through like therapy?
Through
this therapy were you figuring this whole thing out?
No. So this is my degree. When I was in counseling books, I started learning about the brain and how it worked, and I started paying more attention to myself. This is after I hadn't stopped the porn. I hadn't stopped the porn,
Gotcha.
But this is all a part of the rewiring. Yeah. And that's when I began to realize things. I said, dog, I am objectifying everybody I meet or anybody that crossed my eye gate.
Ain't nobody safe with him. With you. Everybody's objectified.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
It's quite a childhood, and it's quite a journey that you've gone through. And like I said, I appreciate you just being so honest and telling me your story. Let's go over to the future.
Okay.
All right. We definitely got to talk about that. Okay. You showed me the new studio and all that. So what is the future for Larry Reed Live?
future for Larry Live, I want to continue to grow it. I'm not shopping it out. I'm not giving it to anyone. Although my publicists and my lawyers, they shopping stuff. I let them do what they do, but I got to say yeah. You know, so I let them go through the motions, but that's not what I want. You remember when Wendy Williams worked in New York on the radio?
Yeah.
If you were a hip hop rap artist in that time, although you hated her, you had to go to WLIB, I think it was. That you had to go there because of she had the audience. And when you got the stamp of approval, in a sense, from that. I want to make kings and queens where there's a product, there's a person, a talent, an artist, undiscovered. I meet them, and because I have the millions of people who can engage or stream or buy your product, then you come on my platform and I make you a king, and then you take that and see what you do with that in the world.
Right.
So that's I want to grow Larry Live to that space, to where we are able to do that.
So to be the number one place to have somebody jump off.
Yeah, you can't release no music, and Larry don't tell you, don't you don't sit on his platform and he say that your music is good.
Right.
Like Oprah did.
Right.
Oprah was a talk show, but then she became her Christmas thing. Everybody wanted it to be her favorite thing. So where all year she's testing products, and then she choose 25 things, and those 25 things will sell out everywhere for 3 years. That's what I want to do.
Giving away free damn cars.
Right.
I'm just saying, where was I, man? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I want to be able to do, because there are a lot of people I run across who are some of the most talented people in the world, and we don't know their name. And if I have the platform to platform them, oh my God, that's what I want to be able to do. And so in order to do that, there's a few things I got to do. I must continue to get the brand exposed. I can't go nowhere and don't get stopped. Like in my city, Atlanta, I can't. I thought, because we're setting up, NBN Network is going to create a property and a space for worship in Charlotte. So I have a place there. So, but I get stopped there too. You know, I went to Savannah, which is the cut, and I got stopped there too. I take pictures. You know, California, New York, I get stopped everywhere I go. And that's digital. And I don't have but, you know, I get millions of views, but I don't have but probably like 200, between Facebook and Facebook, 280,000 subscribers. So the internet's powerful. But going into TV, there's still people, TV is still pretty much king now, but not much for much longer. It's definitely not the future. But being able to be up there is going to open me up to an entirely different market, people who watch that. So I got to do more stuff like that to manifest the future I want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we're wrapping up, and thank you so much for this conversation, man. I do appreciate it. What's some advice you would give to smaller channels to get to where you're at right now?
If you have, I don't care where you are in subscribers, if you got 100 people that watch your video every time you put a video up, get to know all 100 of those people. And if you get to know all 100 of those people, and you continue to engage those 100 people, care about those people. Now, see, if you don't love folk can tell when you're fake. But if you happen to love people and you're in this job and you care about those 100 people and you entertain and engage those 100 people, those 100 people will support anything that you do.
That's facts.
Ask those 100 people to support what you're doing. And that's it. And no matter how small you are, if you got 900,000 subscribers, like I think Tasha had 800 something when we first met.
Yeah, she's almost at 1 million.
Yeah,
she's scraping at 1 million right now.
She was leaving money on the table. And from a business perspective, money is left on the table when there's people that you have not connected to.
Right.
And so you gotta stay connected to your people, because they will invest in what you got going on. Yeah. So that would be my advice. Get to know all of those that are following you. and then make a request and ask them to support. And they will.
Well, Larry, I think that's pretty sound advice. Simple, sort of. But I do appreciate the advice.
It's simple, but it's not easy to do.
Yeah, it's just some work. It's some work. But it's still something. But I think I appreciate you sitting down with me and chopping it up with me. And thank you for inviting us into your home. This place is amazing. I didn't know Atlanta was like this. You know, I'm lying.
The whole street is like this, actually.
I know. We saw
Cardi B
it.
stay down there. Usher stay. What's the name?
Oh.
What's the girl from Sheree, Real Housewives, and Kingdom stay right there. Phaedra down there. You know, there's a lot of black, well-to-do folk in the city.
It's a beautiful neighborhood, man. But I appreciate you letting us come in and chop it up, and we'll let you go.
All right.
Do your thing. All right.
All right.
Appreciate you, man.
All right. God bless. All right.
Thank you, everybody who watched this episode. I really do appreciate it. If you like this, please go hit that like button down below. Do not forget to crush that subscribe button, nuke that thing, break the screen. You hit it so damn hard. And of course, you can follow us on Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. We will be having an exclusive after show hangout with Mr. Larry Reed live on our Patreon and Patreon only. So tune in. We'll see you then.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody rise up weekdays, catch us live somebody. Let's go.